trying to imagine what process we'd actually go about for computing the magnitude, if there's any other information we should get. Yeah, and basically how we would get the proximity is by we'd take this geometry here, which is this rectangular prism. These like clickable, these red and green balls are just like convenience things. You can click on them and drag them around. What's actually defining it is the radius of the little things, so you can change them from like they're water objects. You can change them from boxes to spheres and stuff like that. So if we like drew this thing to the texture as maximum velocity and we blurred it out, like this would be maximum input, this would be maximum, it would be 10 or something. So we'd have, like if it goes 0 to 10 with a particle density meter, we could have a velocity field. This would blur out to the edges and this would blur in, so like, and then we added the density in here. This would be high density to low, high to low. Let me just draw out what I want. So if we've got this, so some sort of blur like that for magnitude, I mean, it's not super great. And that blur is not the real blur that we're using either. I mean, that's pretty much what it would do, but we'd have more stuff coming up here. And we'd have like random dots and stuff out here. I think that's probably the way to do it, would be if we write these things in here, we have then a particle density meter that then changes this average, and then we only allow things to write out, and we do like a fine and rough pass again. We might get our magnitude, and basically the magnitude would be a maximum, let's see, the other thing that would happen is if we wrote our path in here, so we'd have like our path like this, and we could actually write it with a specific radius, so it would kind of write in like that. how would we even get a density? A density is just an average of a square. So would we do like another hierarchy sort of thing for that? Or would we just blur? Because like getting a density is not necessarily as simple as, you know, we need to actually calculate the density, and that's a thing. So we got the directions for a well. Alright. How would we do the density? Would it be arbitrary squares out of here? No, then we'd have squares. And that would be stupid. We could do the same weighted average stuff that we did before, but again, we need to blur it quite a bit. It seems like we need to do the exact same operation that we did before. We just need to actually take magnitude into account. The magnitude needs to be what it is. Are we writing in the geometry here for these values? Because I would want to write into these pixels the direction. Like these pixels should write in. We need to add another step here. We need to, step 5 in our thing, we need to write out flow objects directly to the, write out flow objects to the grid. It's kind of our steps right now for this thing. It's like we're not doing that step at the moment. Also, I am suddenly incredibly hungry. So I need to solve that because it's difficult to think. So I'll be right back. Alright, Adam, have a good one. We'll see you later for when you start streaming. Perhaps. Or I will ignore you and never look at anything you ever do. Alright, so we need to write our flow objects directly to the grid here for some of this directional stuff. So, let me just do that. Wait, we had an error or something here? What happened? The proxy counter for something? For the debug objects? Oh, whatever. That seems like some garbage that isn't part of my stuff. Alright, so we can actually write these things out. So step 5 is going to be write out our flow field objects to the pixel grid. So what have we got for these objects? Have we ever actually written these inputs and outputs to anything? We have these add repulse area and add flow output and all that sorts of stuff. So we have these drain maps and everything else. So we could go through the drain map and the repulsion map. Not necessarily. We're going to want these functions here. We're going to want so how exactly do we want this? We're going to need a direction vector that this input and output is supposed to have. So like an input, I guess, would be radial or something. We actually need more information on our flow objects. So what information do we need? We need the direction of the flow. Yeah, it's true. I'm like, what do I need? Shit. We need the direction of the flow, and we need the magnitude. So the direction is going to be like some sort of... We're going to need like a little arrow or some crap on there. Actually says that. Anyway, I'll be right back. Yeah, well, after 2 weeks off, Lucas, I guess Adam is eager to get back to actually getting some streams on for everyone. So we're going to need a magnitude and a direction for the flow of our objects. And that's what we're going to need to write into this thing, is it's going to be the direction of the flow. And so the direction of the flow is either a specific direction or it's like a radial direction. So like if we are an oval or something, then it's going to be a radial direction. And if it's like a box or something, we might want to have a specific direction that we write in there. Just boom, you know, that's the direction. Alright, so what are some things about this that we need to respect? Do not write shore stuff in there. Yeah, we need specific or non-specific directions. It's true. We specifically need non-specific directions. So do we not write shore stuff in there? Do we care about collisions on this stuff? I don't think so. I don't think we give a damn. I think the magnitude is going to be different entirely. So we're going to go through all of these steps here, and we're already iterating over everything. I think we just want to, with our magnitude calculation, just like write out what we've got. So we're not going to have to like write a whole bunch of new functions, I think. I think we're just going to be able to modify what we already have, just set the magnitude proper. It doesn't need to be perfect. Alright, so things that we're going to need to do is add the information into our flow objects first. And of course, in true independent developer style, I'm gonna eat a bowl of ramen because it's cheap. Alright, so the objects that we're going to be dealing with are going to need a direction and all that stuff, which we have this like weird hack to actually snag it, don't we? We got the extents, radius, type, name, weight. We're going to have f vector get direction, and we're going to have a bool is radial. And we'll need to implement that on our water objects. And of course we need these things here. Alright, so we'll get, yeah, it should be underscore implementation. Alright, cool. I'm gonna have to eat this food. So we're gonna need to implement the actual calls that we just stubbed down. And I'm gonna have to figure out how to get this actual direction. I'd like a little widget in the world that has like an arrow on it or something. So is there some sort of arrow static mesh maybe that I can throw on here? Yeah, it looks like there actually is an arrow. That's pretty cool. Let's see how it is. That is so small. Alright, that's kind of cool. Alright, so we'll be able to use that. So I'll be right back. All right. So this is going to be editor only. So what do we want on here? So if you have this water object, I want to be able to mess with this thing in here. You know, like you click on this guy. I guess I need a construction script here. I guess I want to get the I want to set the scale of this thing to like a constant size actually. How come I can't mess with this thing? So I mean, this looks okay, but I do not know why I can't edit this thing. Like we have editable when inherited. I don't see anything in here that actually lets me edit this arrow. Like, okay, that's kind of stupid. Like, there's no child component that pops up or anything like that. Yeah, I am very confused here. Like, I'd like to be able to click on this actual thing and change parts of it, but I don't see any way to do that. I mean, if I, like, you know, rotate something, I can do it that way, but it's not really what I want to do. Is I'd like to be able to define an area and then change the arrow based on whatever I want. See, it's like exposing variables and functions to the editor. It's got to be something in here. I mean, I can't edit any of this garbage, and I do not understand why. Okay, so we have this arrow. I'm trying to get the size correct right now. It's like super small. None of this makes any sense. Like, where the hell did this thing go? Where's the fucking arrow there? What? That is just... You know, this stuff is all weird half the time. Doesn't make any goddamn sense why those arrows... Like, it's the same blueprints, like, and it's not like these things have set anything on it. It's... So why the hell is one, you know, not showing up and the other is? Like, that makes no sense to me. I think there's some sort of editor bug going on here. So I'm just going to restart the editor. So this is this thing in Blueprint, but the arrow is getting set to this tiny stupid little value that is absolutely not correct. What the fuck? Like, that's... What the hell is going on with this arrow object? Like, there's got to be something with the editor here where this arrow is just like some special piece of garbage that just does not work properly. Because, like, what is that? What is that trash? Like, is that like a... It's not even fucking centered. You know, some of this stuff just... You'd expect to work, it just does not goddamn work. So, like, I just deleted that arrow that I had created beforehand, and now I'm adding it back. And now it works. Like, that is absolutely insane. Like, what in the hell? I mean, obviously there's some sort of setting here with this arrow that once you click it, it's screwed. Like, that's the end of it. You know, there's nothing you can do about it. Alright, well, I can at least go in here and I can set this object to, in the construction script, we can at least set it to invisible if it's a radial object or not. So the question is, how do we change the arrow direction here? Should I just have a slider that has like 0 to 360 on it? It's probably better than nothing. Yeah, let's just do that. I'm not seeing a good way to do it otherwise. It's kind of stupid, but that's okay. This will go from, what, 0 to 360. So let's see. We're going to want to set rotation. Set relative rotation. Roll X. Let's break this out. Alright, I'm going to go from negative 360 to 360. Okay, so by default this thing is pointing in the X direction. So to get our direction, so we're going to rotate 1, 0, 0, and we're going to grab our output direction, throw it in there, and return that direction vector. So that should give us the direction that we will actually go. Alright, that makes sense. Okay, so we have our direction, we have our size and everything else, so we should be able to now write our object in here. Okay, so we need to write our objects to the grid for our direction vectors. Alright, so this is going to be write flow objects to our T-array of calculated flow pixels. Alright, so we're going to need to write a specific flow object here. This will be water flow object, ref object, and then our T-array of calculated flow pixels. So we're going to do for water flow object input and inputs, write flow object object and pixels. So for all the repulse and the repulse areas. And for the water flow object, output and im outputs. We'll again write the flow object. Output. Has to be called to write our flow outputs. There, flow objects. My brain got it right, my voice got it wrong. Okay, so we've got this repulsion map, index, and all that. So basically both of these write for a specific index. This will be mmap. Alright. What just happened? That's not where I wanted to go.